In the work that I'm doing now, I'd like to engage the viewer to think about how meaning is communicated, is exchanged. What I do is I use photography as a way to engage the viewer and to question where this meeting point happens, where meaning is assigned to a visual component. Photography, the meaning is usually baked in. People say, oh, I know what this is. They recognize the thing that it's signifying, that it's representing. Well, I like to disrupt that process so the viewer's cognizant that they are actually projecting meaning onto this thing. This image, this sign has multiple meanings depending on context. And what I like to do with the work is shift context of time, context of place, to come to alternative meanings and multiple meanings. I really don't want one overall meaning. What I want is a plurality of meanings. Because right now we're in a culture that is so polarized, where there is only two possibilities. There's right and there's wrong. There's A and there's B, but there's all of these binaries. What I try to do in the work is create alternatives to this kind of structure so that I invite the viewer in without being specific as to this or that. It could be this and that and something else. I saw this painting on a wall in a villa that was Mussolini's summer villa. And there was this painting depicting a black woman with a chain dangling down, showing her servitude. And then these two figures, an obelisk in the background, and then there was this angle. What is this? And I realized, oh my gosh, that's a pyramid. So I had photographed this pyramid in Rome that one of the Caesars had built several centuries back. And I'm putting them together to talk about this moment of history, this architecture, and then this figure that looks like a person in rapture and spiritual rapture is actually Bobby Brown from a music video. However, it signs in a way that is very potent and unifies the whole picturescape. A lot of the work that I do is grounded in the writings from Stuart Hall. Stuart Hall wrote a lot about hegemony. Stuart Hall was a public intellect, and he spoke about how power operates on peoples through culture and so forth, and specifically how media operates to construct realities, to construct narratives that everyone thinks are normal. And so this process, acting upon us through media, is what really interested me. And a lot of it is done through photography, and through the consumption of images, we formulate our political mind, we formulate what's called common sense, perhaps, but we formulate these ideas that we agree with. These agreements, Stuart Hall calls normative behavior. We cannot overthrow hegemony. It's too all-pervasive. But where our power exists is in the act of resistance. What's important for me is to lure the viewer into a conversation, and using beauty, using certain emotional notes, like how MJ, in that particular moment, that's a high point in a performance for him, and that's frozen. And that allows the viewer to go, respond, have a dialogue with the work, and then slowly, perhaps, the darkness underneath it will start coming to the surface. But I think if I sort of relate to the historical trauma and violence that is embedded in the work, the trauma that's happened from colonization, slave trade, and so forth, that the viewer might just look at it, glaze over, and move on, because those are tough questions, tough ideas to engage with. And so what I'm hoping is that by using beauty, by using certain emotional notes, by using celebrity, that these other aspects, these more complex questions will start coming to the surface.